Very good morning. In my last lecture, we had discussion about accounting conventions, accounting standards, and generally accepted accounting principles. Actually, in the beginning of the class, we had a revision on accounting concepts. We discussed about all 10 accounting concepts. We discussed what is the meaning of accounting concept. Later, we went towards accounting conventions. We discussed what is the meaning of conventions. Then we discussed four important conventions in the field of accounting along with examples. Then later, we once again discussed what is the meaning of GAAP, that is generally accepted accounting principles. Then later, we discussed about accounting standards, right? We discussed what is the meaning of accounting standards, what are the objectives of accounting standards. Then we discussed about few of the accounting standards as an example. Yes. As I told you people here, accounting concepts and accounting conventions or generally accepted accounting principles or accounting standards, these are based for accounting practice. These are certain working rules or guidelines or approaches for practicing accounting. And every accountant follow these all conventions, concepts, and generally accepted accounting principles or accounting standards at the time of preparing financial statement, that is at the time of preparing profit and loss account and at the time of preparing balance sheet. So as we all know that here concepts are, these are certain basic assumptions or ideas which every accountant must follow at the time of preparing practicing of accounting or at the time of preparing financial statement of the company. These are also known as broad working rules of accounting on which accounting practice is carried out. They are called as accounting concept. As we all know that there are 10 concept. Entity concept, it states that owner is different and business is different. Money measurement concept, it states that we should include only monetary transactions and we should ignore all non-monetary transactions. Then third one is going concern concept. It states that business will run for a long period of time in future. We are not having any kind of intention and there is no necessity to close the business in near future. That is going concern concept. And fourth one is accounting period concept. Here it states that every companies must prepare their financial statement at least one time in a year. That is accounting period concept. Then next one is cost concept. This concept states that every assets must be recorded at cost price. We should not consider market value of an asset because assets are purchased for use. They are not purchased for sale. That is cost concept. Dual aspect concept is every business transactions will be having minimum two aspects. Among those two aspects, one aspect should be debited and another aspect should be credited. So every transaction, it includes two aspects. One is receiving of benefit and another one is giving of benefit. Understood? Then it means in very simple words, every transactions will affect minimum two accounts in opposite direction. If one account is debited, another account should be credited. That particular concept is called as dual aspect concept. The next one is matching concept. What is matching concept? The name itself it indicates. Matching is nothing but comparison. Understood. So this particular concept states that the revenues and expenditures of a particular accounting period should be matched or should be compared in order to know the profit or loss of the business. The next one is realization concept or revenue concept. This particular concept states that revenue should be recorded in books of accounts of a company only when it is earned or only when it is realized. If there are any unrealized revenues, we should not be considered or we should not consider them at the time of preparing financial statement of the company. That is revenue concept or realization concept, which is also known as a revenue recognition concept. Then next concept is accrual concept. As I told you people, there are two bases for recording of transaction. One is cash basis and another one is accrual basis. In cash basis, we are going to record only receipts and payments, actual receipts and payments. And in case of cash basis, we are not going to record any kind of credited transactions or we are not going to record any kind of outstanding expenditures and all. But in case of accrual concept, We are going to record each and every type of transactions in books of accounts of a company. Here, if revenue is earned, whether it is received or not yet received, if expenditure is incurred, whether it is paid or not yet paid, such a thing should be recorded in books of accounts of a company. That particular concept is called as accrual concept. And the last one is objectivity concept, which is also known as evidence concept. Here, objectivity means proof or evidence. So this particular concept states that we should make an entry only for those transactions which are having proper proof, which are having proper evidence. Only we should record such kind of transactions. If there are any transactions for which there are no proofs, for which there are no evidences, such kind of transactions cannot be recorded in books of accounts of a company. Understood. That one is called as what? That one is called as evidence concept. See here, if you received any payment, there will be a receipt. So we should mention that receipt number. If we made any payments, then there will be a voucher. So we should write voucher number for that transaction. So this receipt number and voucher numbers are evidences for business transactions. So for each and every business transaction, we should assign proper evidence. We should assign proper proof. That particular concept is called as objectivity concept or evidence concept. Let us move to next aspect, that is accounting conventions. Yesterday we had a very good discussion about accounting convention. What is the meaning of convention? Conventions are certain traditions. These are certain customs or these are certain practices which every accountant must follow at the time of preparing financial statement. That is at the time of preparing balance sheet and at the time of preparing profit and loss account or at the time of maintaining books of account. They need to follow certain traditions, customs or practices. They are called as what? They are called as accounting conventions. There are four conventions in the field of accounting. First one is convention of materiality. Here, you people know the meaning of materiality. Materiality means important, significant, relevant, useful. So, this particular convention states that accountant must make an entry only for important transactions. He must make an entry only for relevant or you can say useful transactions. He should ignore all kind of irrelevant transactions at the time of preparing financial statements of the company. That particular convention is called as materiality convention. Materiality is nothing but important. It is nothing but significant, useful. Then second one is convention of conservatism. What this convention states? Here, conservatism is nothing but precaution. It is nothing but we should take certain measures. So here, convention of conservatism, it states that every accountant must take certain precautions, like they should consider all anticipated losses at the time of preparing financial statement, and they must ignore all kind of anticipated profits at the time of preparing financial statement. That particular convention is called as conservatism. Conservatism is nothing but prudence. It is nothing but safe principle. We need to take certain precautions. How to take precautions? We should consider all anticipated losses and we must ignore all anticipated profits, because anticipated profits are not harmful to the business. Which is harmful? Losses are harmful to the business. Okay. Then let us move to next one, that is convention of consistency. As we all know that consistency is nothing but stability, is nothing but uniformity in accounting practice. So this particular convention states that there should be a consistency, there should be a stability, there should be a uniformity in accounting practice. Meaning, once accountant has chosen any of the method of accounting or any of the technique of accounting, he must follow the same method or same technique over a period of time. He is not supposed to interchange the methods and the techniques of accounting from one accounting year to another accounting year. There should be a stability in accounting practice. It means we should use uniform rules and regulations over a period of time. We are not supposed to change these rules, regulations, methods, systems, and techniques from one accounting year to another accounting year. That particular convention is called as convention of consistency. The next convention is convention of full disclosure. This particular convention is completely opposite to convention of materiality. Materiality convention gives importance for quality of information, but full disclosure convention it gives importance for quantity of information. Here, full disclosure convention it states that accountant must provide full and complete information to stakeholders. He should not hide any information from the stakeholders. He should provide complete information. That particular convention is called as convention of full disclosure. So like this, there are four conventions in the field of accounting. Yes. Then we discussed about gap, that is generally accepted accounting principles. Many times I told you people that these are certain universal guidelines which every accountant must follow at the time of practicing of accounting. So here generally accepted accounting principles are guidelines which are adopted by professional bodies for reporting and recording and reporting of business transactions or business transactions in financial statement with an intention to bring uniformity in accounting practice. So those guidelines are called as generally accepted accounting principles. Yesterday I was telling you people that about how the improvements are made with concepts and conventions and all. I told you people that earlier what we used to call as principles or postulates, they started to call them as a concepts and conventions. Later again, they made certain improvements. Then they started to call them as generally accepted accounting principles. Then later again, they made some drastic changes or very good improvements with gap, that is generally accepted accounting principles. Right now, the same generally accepted accounting principles are called as accounting standards. Accounting standards are some written statements. These are certain written statements consisting of rules and regulations. These are certain written statements consisting of certain rules and regulations provided by accounting bodies or professional bodies, professional institutions for preparation and presentation of financial statement. Meaning, this Institute of Chartered Accountant of India has given certain written guidelines. It has given certain written rules and regulations for preparation and presentation of financial statement. Those written guidelines are called as accounting standards. I was telling you people that in India, accounting standards are issued by ICAI, that is Institute of Chartered Accountant of India. It is established in the month of July 1977, and till today, this ICAI has issued around 32 accounting standards. Out of 32 accounting standards, 31 are in practice, and one accounting standard is withdrawn by ICAI. And these all accounting standards are issued under section 211 of Companies Act 1956, and these accounting standards are applicable to all companies in India irrespective of their nature of ownership, irrespective of size, and irrespective of nature of the business, whether it is a small, micro, medium and large scale industry, whether it is a private industry or public industry or joint stock company or cooperative society, Hindu undivided family, partnership firm, whatever type of business it is, whether it is a manufacturing firm or service oriented business, whatever type of business it is, these all accounting standards are applicable to all types of businesses in India. Yes, and these are certain objectives behind implementation of these accounting standards. First one is to improving the reliability of financial statement. Second one is to bring the uniformity in accounting practice. Third one is this preventing frauds and manipulations, not to giving scope for misrepresentation, manipulation in accounting statement. The next one is to simplifying the accounting information. So these are certain important objectives behind accounting practice. Yeah, next one is accounting cycle. Actually, we already discussed about accounting cycle while discussing functions of accounting. Actually, accounting cycle, it is a sequence process of accounting which begins with business transaction, then followed by journal, journal to ledger, ledger to trial balance. Then later it will move to final accounts, that is preparation of profit and loss account and balance sheet. So executing these five steps in a systematic way, That particular process is called as what? It is called as accounting cycle. That there are 7 functions. First one is identifying, second one is measuring. They deals with the first phase, that is business transaction. Then third function is recording, that is recording transaction or entering the transaction in the book of journal. And fourth function is classifying, it deals with preparation of ledger. Fifth transaction is summarizing, it deals with preparation of trial balance. And sixth function is analysis and interpretation. It deals with preparation of final account, that is preparation of profit and loss account and balance sheet of the company. By that, accounting process comes to end, and we need to present those final accounts before the stakeholders of the company, that is users of accounting information, like shareholders, prospective shareholders, financial institutions, creditors, government, etc. We need to present these financial statements before the stakeholders. It is about accounting cycle. Yes. Today's discussion, that today we are going to focus on account. And today's discussion is very important for solving problems in accountancy, because today we are going to discuss what is the meaning of account and how many types of accounts are there in the field of accounting. Yes, what is the meaning of account? Account, it is a very simple concept. It is a format. It is a format which is there in T shape. Which shape? In T shape. That alphabet T, it is there in T shape. It is a format in which we are going to record summarized information about a particular person, about a particular institution, or about a particular thing like machinery, land, building, etc. That particular format is known as what? It is known as account. So once again, here account, it is a format in which summarized information of transactions relating to a particular person, or relating to a particular institution, or relating to a particular thing is recorded, is called as what? Is called as account. It is a format which is there in a T shape. In that particular format, in that particular pro forma, we are going to record summarized information relating to a person, like Pradeep's account. In that, we are going to record all the transactions relating to Mr. Pradeep. Gokte College account. In that particular format, we are going to record all the transactions that are associated or related to Gokte College of Commerce. Understood? Machinery account, in which we are going to record all the transactions related to machinery. Salary account. In this particular account, we are going to record all the transactions that are pertaining to salary. It is nothing but format in which we are going to record summarized information relating to a particular person or thing or services or any of the institutions, etc. That particular format or pro forma is called as what? It is called as account. And as I told you people, here it is there in which shape? T shape, alphabet T. So T, that is which is divided into two sides. If you wrote T in your book, the left hand side of that particular T, I mean, the left hand side of that particular account is called as a debit side. And the right hand side is called as what? It is called as credit side. So account is there in which shape? It is there in a T shape. So here left hand side of an account is called as debit side, and right hand side of an account is called as credit side. And here this debit and credit, these are not having any specific meaning in the field of accounting. These are just used as symbols in the field of accounting. And debit is symbolically represented as DR, capital D, small r, DR, debit. And credit is symbolically represented as CR. Understood? So account, it is a format or it is a pro forma in which summarized information relating to a person or relating to a thing or relating to a services or relating to a institution, about anything we are going to record. That particular format or pro forma is called as what? It is called as account. Okay, yes. And one more very interesting thing is here, before going to classification of accounts, actually there are two systems. One is American system and another one is English system. The system that we are following is English system. And there is another system called American system, which actually we won't practice, So in English system, we classified these accounts in three categories. First category is personal account. Second category is real account. And the third category is nominal account. Like this. Here, accounts are categorized in three ways. Once again, we follow which system? We follow English system. In English system, accounts are classified in three categories. First one is personal account, second one is real account, and the third one is nominal account. Like this, we have classified accounts in three categories. Let us discuss about these three categories. Let's discuss first about personal account. Personal account, yes. Here, as far as accounting is concerned, person, it does not mean that only human beings. It does not mean that only human beings. Here we will see some artificial persons and representative persons also. For example, artificial persons. Company, it is known as artificial person, which is created under law. Company is a artificial person. Organizations are artificial persons. Institutions are artificial persons. Like how human being can enter into contract with other people, like that even institution can enter into a contract with any of the persons or any of the institutions. That is the reason we call them as artificial persons. So first we'll discuss about the meaning of personal account. Later we'll see what is the further classification in personal account. Here, what is the meaning of personal account? Here, these are the accounts which are concerned with person or firm or companies or institution. Meaning, these are the accounts which are pertaining to or which are concerned with person. Person means living, or you can say human beings. Firms is nothing but companies, or you can say institutions. So that particular account is called as what? It is called as a personal account. So it is a account which is concerned with the person, firm, companies, and institutions. We'll take some of the examples. Pradeep's account is a personal account. Mr. Santosh account is a personal account. And Gokte College of Commerce account is also personal account. That is what I told in the beginning. Persons, it does not include only human beings. It also includes certain artificial persons. It also includes certain representative persons. You can take example of Government of India account. Government of India account is a personal account. It is a personal account. It is a representative personal account. Then next one is Grama Panchayat, Jilla Panchayat, Taluk Panchayat, Belgaum city account, Karnataka government account. These all are personal account. Understood. Keep in mind, person, it does not mean that only human beings. It also includes some artificial persons and representative persons. So once again, personal account, it is a account which is concerned with persons, firms, institutions, or organizations with whom business deals. That particular account is called as what? It is called as personal account. This personal account is further classified in three categories. First one is natural personal account. Natural personal account, it is a account which is concerned with human beings or living individuals. As I gave example of Pradeep's account, Shiva's account, Kavita's account, Kirti's account. These are best example for what? Natural personal account. Actually, further classification is not so important, but to have an in-depth knowledge of accounting, we should know about further classification of accounting accounts also. So here personal account is further classified in three categories. First one is natural personal account. It deals with human beings. It deals with living individuals. That particular personal account is called as a natural personal account. Second one is representative personal account. Representative personal account, meaning these are the accounts which represents a person or group of person, which represents a person or group of person. For example, capital account. Capital account, it represents owner. So capital account is a personal account. Drawings account, it also represents owner. It is also which account? Personal account. Debtors account, it represents customers to whom we sold goods on credit basis. Which account? Personal account. Debtors account represents group of customers. Creditors account represents group of suppliers. So the account that represents a person or group of person, that particular account is called as what? It is called as representative personal account. Now, third one is, it is artificial personal account. What is the meaning of artificial personal account? It is a account which deals with artificial persons like institutions, body of individuals, or firms or companies, etc. That particular account is called as artificial personal account. So these are the accounts which are concerned to institutions, body of individuals, which is considered as a person in the eye of law. That is what I said here. Person, it does not mean that only living individuals. As far as accounting is concerned, or according to law, even company is considered as a person. Company can enter into a contract with anybody because it is also person. But only thing is, it is artificial person created under law. So the account that deals with institution, companies, firms, organizations, NGOs, or body of individuals, etc. That particular account is called as what? It is called as artificial personal account. It is called as what? It is called as artificial personal account. Okay. What are the examples for artificial personal account? Infosys company account, Wipro company account, Tata Group's account, Gokte College of Commerce account. These all are what? These all are artificial persons. Karnataka Law Society's account, Gokte BCA account. These all are artificial personal accounts. So it is all about personal account. So keep in mind, personal account, it deals with three types of persons. It may be natural person, it may be representative person, or it may be artificial person. So the account that deals with persons like human beings or companies or institutions or this debit customers or suppliers, etc. That particular account is known as which account? It is known as personal account. Let us move to second one, that is a real account. See here, personal account, it deals with a person, and that person may be a natural person or maybe a representative person or maybe a artificial person. Here, real account, it is a account which deals with the properties of the business, which deals with assets of the business. That particular account is called as real account. Real account. So it is a account which is concerned with assets or which is concerned with the properties owned by the business. That particular account is called as real account. Yes. What is the meaning of assets? Already we discussed about assets. Assets are nothing but properties. The things which we are going to hold for a long period of time. The things that are purchased for use, which are not purchased for sale, they are called as what? They are called as assets. So the account that deals with assets, that account is called as real account. Example is land account, building account, furnitures account, plant account, machinery account, vehicle account, etc. These all are best example for real account. Yes. How? In personal account, person is categorized in three ways. Like that here, assets are categorized in three ways under real account. So here real accounts are further classified in how many categories? They are further classified in three categories. Which are those three categories? First one is tangible real account. Second one is intangible real account. And third one is fictitious real account. First one is a tangible real account. Second one is a intangible real account. And third one is a fictitious real account. Okay. As I told you people, this particular account deals with what? It deals with assets. So tangible real account deals with tangible assets. Intangible real account, it deals with intangible assets. And fictitious real account, it deals with fictitious assets of the firm. Let's discuss about these all types of real accounts. First one is a tangible real account. As I told you people, this particular account is concerned with the tangible assets or properties of the business. What is the meaning of tangibility? Tangible is nothing but which we can see, which we can touch. That kind of properties are called as tangible assets. So this particular real account, it deals with all tangible assets of the firm. Example, land, building, furniture, fixtures, vehicle, machinery. Hmm? Yeah, these all are what? These all are tangible assets. So the account that deals with the tangible properties of the business, those accounts are called as tangible real account. Then next one is intangible real account. First of all, what is the meaning of intangible asset? The asset which we cannot see, the asset which we cannot touch, that kind of asset is called as intangible asset. Here, assets means which generates incomes to the business. So there are certain assets which we cannot see, which we cannot touch, but still they generates income to the business. Those kind of assets are called as what? They are called as intangible assets. For example, goodwill. Goodwill is nothing but reputation of the business, or additional value attached to the business is called as what? It is called as goodwill. You can take example of patents, copyrights, trademark, geographical indication. These all are best example for what? Intangible assets, which we cannot see, which we cannot touch, but still we will get the benefit of these all assets. That one is called as what? That one is called as intangible real account. Uh, you can take some of the examples that service charges will differ from restaurant to restaurant. Even the quality of services provided is the same, but the price will be different. What is the reason? The reason is goodwill. The reason is reputation. That is what? That is intangible asset or intangible property of the business. So the account that deals with intangible assets, intangible properties of the business, that particular account is called as what? It is called as intangible real account. So best example is goodwill accounts, patents account, copyrights account, trademarks account, geographical indication account, etc. Your goodwill is nothing but reputation. Patents is nothing but we will come up with some new technologies and we will grant a right to use that new technology to other people. That one is called as what? Patents. Licensing, franchising, copyrights, it is something about writing of books, novels, songs, etc. That is what? That is copyrights. And trademarks are nothing but symbols that are used by the companies. Geographical indication, the best example is Kashmir apple, Mysore silk, Dharwad peda, Belgaum kunda. Geographical indication, these all are what? These all are intangible things which we cannot see, which we cannot touch. For example, there are two kunda makers. One is in Belgaum and another one is in Dharwad. So usually Belgaum people will charge little bit more price as compared to Dharwad kunda maker. What is the reason? Reason is geographical indication, because Belgaum kunda is famous as compared to Dharwad. If it comes to Dharwad, then Peda is famous as compared to Belgaum. So that is what? These are certain intangible assets which every businesses, which most of the businesses will have. So the account that deals with intangible assets or intangible properties, that particular account is called as what? It is called as intangible real account. Then third one is fictitious real account. First, we should know the meaning of fictitious asset. There will be certain heavy expenses. There will be certain heavy expenses, or there will be certain heavy losses. Heavy losses which we are going to write off over a period of time. Meaning, these are certain losses and expenses which we cannot write off from the profit of 1 or 2 years. We are going to write it off over a period of time. We'll take one example, by that you people will understand. We discussed about preliminary expenses. Preliminary expenses are nothing but, preliminary is nothing but initial, in the beginning. registration charges, documentation charges, promotional activities. These all are what? These all are promotional active. These all are preliminary expenses. Have they pertaining to 1 year? No. We are going to carry our business activity, for example, for a period of 10 years. So that registration charges, that heavy expenditure should be apportionated. I mean, distributed between all 10 years, should not be distributed only to 1 year. Understood? That kind of heavy expenses or huge losses which we are going to apportionate to which we are going to write off over a period of time, or we are going to distribute over a period of time, that kind of losses are called as what? They are called as fictitious assets. So the account that deals with fictitious assets of the firm, that account is called as what? That account is called as fictitious real account. Here fictitious losses, it includes preliminary expenses, discount on issue of shares, discount on issue of debentures, accumulated losses, etc. So the account that deals with these four important items. Even you can take example of heavy expenses incurred for repairs and maintenance of machinery. For example, in the year 2000, in the year 2020, we spent around 5 lakh rupee for repairs and maintenance of machinery. That 5 lakh rupee is not pertaining only to 2020, because we are going to use that asset over a period of time. For example, we are planning to use it till 2025. So distribute that 5 lakh rupee between all 5 years. Every year you can write off 1 lakh rupee. Understood? So this kind of heavy expenditures are known as what? They are known as fictitious assets. So it is all about real account. Let us discuss about last account, that is nominal account. Personal account deals with persons, all types of persons like natural person, artificial person, and representative person. Then real account, it deals with all types of assets such as tangible assets, intangible assets, and fictitious assets. Now, nominal account, name itself it indicates nominal, meaning this is a account which deals with expenses and losses and incomes and gains of the business. The expenses and losses which incurs in the business and incomes and gains that are earned in the business. So that particular account is known as what? It is known as nominal account. It deals with four important aspects. It deals with expenses, losses, incomes, and gains. That particular account is called as what? It is called as nominal account. And these all four things are common. Nominal, common, ordinary thing. There will be income, there will be gain, there will be expenses, there will be losses. So those all things should be recorded under which account? They should be recorded under nominal account. I mean, they are pertaining to nominal account. Nominal account rules are applicable to these four items such as incomes, expenses, losses, and gains. We'll take some of the examples. Sales. Sales is an income, which account? Nominal account. Purchases is expenditure, which account? Nominal account. Wages paid, salary paid, interest paid, dividend paid, all are expenses, which account? They are nominal account. Commission received, interest received, rent received, brokerage received, all are incomes, which account? Nominal account. So this is a account which deals with expenses and losses that incurs and incomes and gains that are earned in the ordinary course of business. That particular account is known as what? It is known as nominal account. So it is all about different types of accounts that we are having under English system, and our entire accounting practice is based on these three types of accounts. One is personal account, second one is real account, and third one is nominal account. Account is what? Account is a format in which summarized information relating to a person or relating to a thing or relating to a services or assets or institution or expenses, losses is recorded. That particular format is known as account. So it is all about meaning of account and classification of account. In my next video, we will discuss about the rules of these accounting, the rules of these accounts. Like personal account is having its own rules, real account is having its own rules, and nominal account is having its own rules. So we'll discuss about those all rules of accounting along with certain examples in my next video. Thank you so much.